Okay, let's look at Roblox. And you want to look at GitLab, okay? Let's take a look. I would call that a miracle drug. Okay, Roblox reported Q3, huh? Must have missed that. Roblox. Mom, I want to play Roblox. Roblox killing it. Straight killing the game. Roblox not really a one-product company. It's kind of a game platform. Infrastructure, trust, and safety, and toxicity. Yes, I'm from the toxicity department. The problem with Roblox is it's much lower margin than people think. After you put all the trust and safety people there, it's actually kind of low margin itself. And they have to pay out earnings to the game makers. The cash flow from operations is the real trick for Roblox. Okay, so cash flow from operations, 630, 7825. They have all this stock-based comp. CapEx 115, 786, 115, 786. I wonder if this is, okay, I think I get this. This was supposed to be minus this. Okay, this makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, it's like $1 billion free cash flow a year. Yeah, it doesn't look that overvalued. I'm not sure I'd run out and buy it, but it doesn't look that overvalued. A little bit of instinct, sea tanker. A little bit of knowledge, a little bit of instinct. These guys have delayed their PDUFA like 1 million times. We have to get rid of these class action lawsuit things. It's so annoying. Hillary Clinton short squeezing me? Yeah, it's possible. I think it's FDA delaying. Yes, we're short HUMA. I'm just going to stare at this and wait for a trade to show up. I don't know. Rocket Lab doesn't look that great. I bought a little bit, but it's a very high momentum stock. It'll keep kind of going up probably if the news stays the way it is, but DJT pretty confident. They don't really have a business, do they? They don't have a business in it. I don't like ClearPoint that much. I didn't like AVXL. HUMA's really small. I haven't looked at Synexix in a while. I thought about buying the company a while back. I don't know when they're going to get the FDA news. They should get it, right? How is Amgen allowed to sell biosimilar to EYLEA? It's a really old drug. EYLEA's been around a while. AVXL is just like, everything about it's fake. Just like Fisava. But, you know, I have to look into it. Once I look into it, I can get a better sense for, like, how real or not real is it. We don't have ACOG for some reason. Is it Pink Sheets? Or is it... Oh, this is Canadian. Alpha Cognition. Okay. Yeah, I like Moderna. I know a little bit about crypto. I know cryptography. HUMAcyte doesn't really have any... Oh, they might have just listed. What is the FDA saying? This is really cringe. Clinical deficiencies. HUMA's getting a CRL, yes. Maybe the FDA is sending them out tonight. Sometimes they send out all the CRLs at the same time. No, I know people short HUMA. I don't know anyone long. Yeah, you know, it's better to be sure the ones you do trade. Yeah, I know a lot about IFP. What's the goal of using crypto for IFP? I think it's bullish that, or I'm sorry, bearish. It's definitely a great thing for the HUMA short that APLT got a, no, not again. FTC brought antitrust probe into Microsoft. Yeah, I get that KT, but I'm not sure what the goal is. Yes, I've been short HUMA. I don't think Bitcoin breaking 100K doesn't make a difference. Tonight would be a great night to announce a CRL. And I think FDA wants to get them out before, you know what I mean, before vacation starts. So it kind of makes sense. HUMA never filed with data. It's a short even if it gets approved, I agree. Thanks a lot, Right Reach Saga. Right Jumper, exactly. Thanks, Willie. I love you guys. When you become a Godel customer, you become my boss. You could tell me what to do. I'll look at any stock for you if I have time. I'm a co-founder, yeah. APLT, though. APLT's in trouble.
Godel, I could look up stocks super fast. Watch this. NVIDIA, okay, up $3. I see you. SMCI, 27.50, up $2. How's Micron doing? 100.66, I see. Let's see, how's my favorite cassava? Okay, it's flat. What else is going on in the world? I can watch all these and customize all these things. Man, it's over for Yahoo Finance. Microstrategy breaking down. Who told me not to short this? Who told me not to short this? Making thousands of dollars. I wouldn't short Bitcoin per se. That's different. All right, I think I'm gonna cover MicroStrategy. Prove my point. May go red, may not, but it is down from its peak quite a bit. I bet you it goes red today, but I don't need to prove that to anybody.
𝗠𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏.
There we go. Yeah, that was a good return. That was a good return. Make sure you subscribe to Godel. I like having it right in the corner of my screen so I can just watch every tick. And then if you really are an animal, you watch the time in sales. There's a TAS. I don't know if you guys can see that. I mean, it'd actually make more sense to watch this at a higher volume cutoff. MicroStrategy really might go red. It's 1,000 shares. This might be like 1,000 multiplier or something. I don't know. I forgot that the nominal value is actually pretty big. So 100 shares of MicroStrategy is 50K. 500 shares is, 250. Yeah, it's mostly small lots trading it, which tells you something as well. Yeah, I think the size is not the lot size. So like it is literally the 100 shares traded. No, I'm not 100% sure. It's not a Ponzi scheme per se. No, I tweeted somebody's, I know somebody that works at Taiwan Semi and they got an ASML machine. Oh, MicroStrategy's almost red. I told you. In retrospect, it was a bubble. Oh, MicroStrategy red. I should have waited. I got greedy. Now the pain begins. No, I don't think we'll vanquish MicroStrategy so easily. Maybe. Trading 3x the Bitcoin price. You don't realize, though, Sailor is the value. Sailor is Satoshi. Oh, it's red. Oh, it's red. Just closing out of some DJT. I think DJT is going to try to pull some Bitcoin too, because they did go after the crypto thing like backed. It obviously is working right now if they announced it.
𝗠𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏.
I mean, it's a conflict of interest for the president in it, but it's been a painful short, not really worth. I don't think X will buy DJT, but I do think they would if they had a bunch of Bitcoin. The problem is you have to cash out the public shareholders, and you got to cash them out for $6 billion, which doesn't work really well. Yeah, I don't even know if I made money shorting DJT net. I don't like Andrew left, but I really don't think they should charge him for that. He was a little careless with how he handled the whole situation there. When you make public statements about a stock, you should be very careful, and if you trade that stock, you should be consistent with how you trade it. Otherwise, you're manipulating. I've never said something public that I wasn't doing private, because it's dishonest, it's dirtbag move, and I think he crossed over into that territory every now and then. Again, it is what it is, but I don't think they should be charging him. I don't know much about Dr. Oz. I know my brother likes him. Oh, Citron put a short report out. Citron's still up to his old tricks. They might remand him. I hope they don't remand him. Like, hey, we just arrested you for doing this, and now you're doing it again. Can you please stop? One way to stop you is put you in prison. I wouldn't be writing too many papers if I were him. Yeah, Morningstar owns some good properties. All of these big financial companies, 20 pages before we even talk about clinical trials.
Yeah.
Good. I was on the stand for 4 hours or something. It's annoying.
Wow. Oh, wow.
3. But it was, I got to meet the judge, the prosecutor is like trying hard to tick me off. And I was like, just like laughing at him.
Prosecutor, I thought it was like...
It's a civil case, yeah. They played a video, they played all these videos of me on social media, and I was like, sometimes I gave this long, elaborate answer about what trolling was. I was like, it's sometimes considered, refer to it as trolling. And in trolling, the user will sometimes intentionally, knowingly write the wrong information. And in fact, the reader will often understand that it's the wrong information, and that this is a form of entertainment.
It's a form of online satire.
Yeah, and I was like, the social media isn't the courtroom. It's not a place where, people behave normally. It's a place where people are silly. They're
defiant, all this stuff. So, it was I think that it's a generational thing as well, which I did not mention, which I probably should have, that like, this is sort of the way people communicate now.
Yeah, boomers don't controlling.
Yeah, like the judge was looking at me funny, and I was like, it can sound hard to believe, but this is the way a lot of people communicate online. They're not serious. They're saying all kinds of things. And they were like, well, you said you had the MP3s in safes around the world. And I was like, I've told you 5 times in a row, I've never owned a safe in my life. And like, part of the mystique. Yeah, no, that's what they kept asking. And I'm like, part of the mystique of this album is that it's got this like veneer of secrecy and hush around it that makes it a little more interesting than the normal album. But the reality is that was mostly farcical, and it was something we created mutually with the Wu-Tang Clan to sort of enhance the story. And keeping in line with that was, just something that we did for fun. It wasn't some intent on my part to, if I say on some podcast that I have MP3s, they kept saying, but the files you disclosed were FLAC files. I was like, I just say MP3s to mean music. Like, wasn't that like specific. They're like, where are the MP3s? I'm like, I told you I never made MP3s. I have FLACs. They're like, yeah, but you said MP3s. I'm like, oh boy. Well, it's just it's the finicky and what's the pedantic kind of exacting nerd nature of taking a public statement and assuming that it's true, especially in
Finding expedition.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're entitled to find their facts, but like, I made it clear that, I've never had a safe, I've never had MP3s of this, and they're just like, yeah, but you said it on this date. I'm like, yeah, I did. I guess I did. And that's to be expected. Like, the producer in question has never produced any viable music. This was like his main project in life, which is fine. It shows that this is his first main project. It wasn't really mastered or mixed well at all. So like, it just sounds terrible. Nobody was paid for it. It was just like a throwaway thing. Well, that's the producer, yeah. So he was just a guy that, I mean, again, just judging if he was very good at what he did, people would hire him to make albums all the time. He's never made albums for any other stars. The funniest was the opposing counsel going, what online accounts do you have? It's like, I have many. He's like, name them. Like, well, I have email accounts. I have an AWS account. I have a Tinder account. I was like, I have a lot of online accounts. I mean, you want me to name them all? Every password I have and for every website? I actually got to basically tell the whole case, which was like completely inappropriate because it asked for legal conclusion and stuff like that. But she was like, I'll hear it. I was like, look, the people at '𝗲𝗄𝗅, before spending $4 million on an album, should have asked the prior album owner, hey, did you make copies of this and send this around? That's all they should have done. And then determined, okay, we're going to take the risk that these copies in the wild are, out there. It's weird to me that the judge is like, okay, we want to claw back all the copies you sent from when you did own it, which are like legitimate transfers. And it's just like, what a weird precedent. I think they drew a judge that was very sympathetic to their situation. But I think that as Your Honor thinks about this case a little bit more, they'll sort of realize that the only negligent party here is the party that brought the case, because they had ample opportunity. They're the only party interested in buying this. And they had ample opportunity to diligence their purchase. They're regretting their purchase, and they're trying to do the diligence after the fact. And the funniest part is that it was not 𝗲𝗄𝗅, and I tried to bring this out in court, it wasn't even 𝗲𝗄𝗅 that bought the album. It was some other party. And it's like, I've never made a representation to you of any kind. So it's just a funny, it's a very strange litigation. We're happy to see it through. Like, been a lot of litigation, giving and receiving, and I'm sure there'll be more. I mean, the CEO of 𝗲𝗄𝗅 told me they made a huge mistake by not doing what I suggested. In fact, in today's deposition, the judge was like, well, why don't they go first? And my lawyer was like, okay, can we go first? And they let us go first. You know, it felt like a direct and a cross. So, all the dudes in the courthouse were like, Shkreli! So funny. They like, haven't seen you in a while. I said, yeah, I was away. And the guy is like the bodega in the courthouse is like, and I forgot what he said, but he was like, my man. Oh yeah, he said, he was like, you went in, you came out, you don't got no scratches on you. I was like, no scratches. And he's like, you ain't got no scars. I was like, nope. He's like, you stood tall, did your time. I was like, yeah. The guy was like very, very fun. It was great. Yeah, the no scratches, no scars thing was like kind of a meme sometimes in prison where they're like, you did fine. Because like there's guys that go in prison and like, I saw one crazy scar called the telephone scar. And it goes from ear to mouth. And it's like for snitches.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a hood thing. So like that, like when he said that, I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. One of the guys was like, hey, you in a gang? I was in a holding cell for like court. But they loaded up. I was in my own cell and they loaded up a whole other cell. And I could see them and the guys were laughing. They're like, oh, Shkreli. And he goes, another guy goes, you in a gang? And I said, no. Another guy goes, yeah, you are. I said, what gang? He goes, FTF. I said, never heard of it. He said, the feds. And I was like, yeah, FTF. It was fairly, just so many crazy stories, man. What an experience. Glad it's over. This first week wasn't that scary. It was more invigorating than anything. It pumps you up because you have to react. And probably the best strat is definitely you definitely want to you want to make it clear that like you're not afraid, that this whole thing doesn't faze you, that you've been through harder hardships in life, and this is nothing to you. That is like ideally the reality as well. But if you can portray that, I think that's pretty good thing to do. Ultimately, like you do need to have some put option on violence. And for me, that put option was mostly my Albanian identity. I had a lot of different cellies over time. So I had cool cellies, I had terrible cellies. I'll tell you a crazy story. So our prison was set up with 4 different living units. And one of them was called Greg. And the guy was coming from the Greg unit to our unit, which was called Brady. And he was going to be our bunkmate. It was a 3-man room. And this guy was a terrorist. Some of you guys know me well, some of you guys don't. I'm very anti-terrorist. Like very, very, very. Terrorism to me is like one of the worst things you can do. So terrorism against the country is something that like, it is a federal crime, but it's also something I look down on pretty harshly. And so guy comes in and I refer to him as Guantanamo Greg, or Greg Tanamo Bay, because he came from this Greg unit. And he was trying to defend himself. He's like, well, in prison, we're seen as like brave and like, above, a lot of other prisons. Like, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Like, to some people, you might be below even a chomo. And he was like, oh, I was like, sorry. So yeah, we eventually kicked him out of the room. But there was a lot of, I didn't scrap with him, but he was upset because I wasn't looking him in the eye. I was just like, was like disrespecting him. I maybe would have came to blows, maybe not, but like the point is like in jail it's like high school or something. There's like a lot of petty talk, a lot of puffery. I tell the story a lot, like my first day, my food's about to be here, but like I would like babysit some of the new white guys, just be like, oh, everything will be fine. It'll be like their first day, and then like 2 big black dudes be like, man, I'm about to kill you. Another guy would be like, yeah, I got it on me, so go ahead. Just about to like, and the guy's like, yo, they're gonna fight. I was like, no, they're not gonna fight. It's like, I would love to see a good fight here. These guys are all just, all talk. I'll be right back.